The following conversation is for a mature audience. We provide a safe and warm environment for our guests to share in their own experiences, to speak their truth out loud. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Truth Without Edits. You know, sometimes I think we forget who we're even talking about when we talk about God. We're talking about the Creator, the one who formed the sun, the moon, the stars, the galaxies, every planet, every cell, every heartbeat. He is absolutely unfathomably grand, beyond anything our human minds could ever comprehend. And yet, somehow we still try to fit him into a box. We act like the Almighty needs our attendance records to prove our devotion, as if the God who created the world is keeping score of who sat in a pew last Sunday. Today, we're here to talk about that truth, the kind people usually whisper about but rarely say out loud. I started this podcast with one thing in mind and one thing only: to share our truth. We are truth tellers. Some may not like us for it, and that's okay. Like Mel Robbins says, let them. Let them talk, let them judge, let them misunderstand. Because this episode right here, it's raw, it's real, and it's one of the most honest conversations we've ever had. Just like we're not supposed to talk about money or sex, we're not supposed to talk about church culture, especially when it challenges the comfort zones of faith. But what happens when your one precious, God-given life starts being judged because your walk doesn't look like everyone else's? That's why today I'm sitting down with Kim, a mom, a homeschooler, and a faith-filled, God-loving woman who was born and raised in the church. She's walked the walk, she's seen it from the inside out, and she's learned that loving God sometimes means doing it differently. Kim is unapologetically herself, and her story reminds us that relationship and religion were never meant to compete. They were meant to coexist. So today, we're pulling back the curtain. We're talking about what it really feels like to love God, but not always fit into church culture, because maybe, just maybe, God was never meant to be contained by our traditions. Or maybe it's time we stop performing for approval and start choosing peace. Kim, welcome to Truth Without Edits. Yay!
It's been a long time coming, meeting up and stuff too.
Yes, girl, it's been such a long time coming, and I will preface this conversation by saying that I have been following you on social media. This is our very first time meeting in person, which I feel like I've known you forever. And I just think that you're such a dope person, for lack of a better word. I've been following you forever because you're powerful and you are a businesswoman and you homeschool your daughter, and I homeschool my kids. So I always thought that that was really cool. And you have an amazing business that I've been following for so long. And I'm like, this woman is a darn amazing truth teller. Like, all your posts are always so bold. And I love that about you. And I thought, I need to have her on Truth Without Edits. So we've been chatting for, I think, a couple months now and kind of getting to know each other over the phone. And I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm over the moon to be here and just speak truth of myself, and for other people that have not felt comfortable enough to speak their own truth as well too. And hopefully I get to be a voice to them as well too, and that people can resonate with whatever we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. So what did your faith look like for you when you were growing up, Kim?
I mean, I was born into the church, so right away, my mom and my dad, they were married. I'm the youngest of four, and right away we grew up in the Pentecostal church environment. And, you know, if many people don't know, I think they do know, but where it's Pentecostal, it's usually stricter, skirts, no makeup, hair pulled back, like nothing can be seen as sexualized or anything of that, I guess you can say. And if you miss church or whatever, then you're not as clinged on to God as much as everyone would assume that you are, or if you're not involved in church, then you're also not as holier as like other people. So I was in the Pentecostal church for, I want to say, from birth up until I was 11, 12. And then but before that, my mom and dad, they did get divorced. There was definitely like a lot of physical abuse growing up, and my mom, she ended up running away with us, all four of her children. So we were born in New York when we moved to Mass, and that's a whole other conversation. But basically, my mom, from that period of time, she kind of was like looking for who she was as a person. So she stopped wearing the skirts. She stopped wearing like no makeup. Like her hair was super long, so she ended up cutting and stuff. So she kind of like rebranded herself. And then we ended up going from Pentecostal to a, I guess you could say like a Baptist church, but it was all in Spanish and stuff. And that's where I got to see more of like my mom be more of the woman that she was destined to be, I guess you could say. Because for me, I didn't really know what it was like to be a woman, like, because my mom, she didn't wear makeup, she only wore skirts and all these things. So then I also took on that for myself. And then when I saw her break free from that religion aspect of things, and she stepped into like more of like a freedom type of environment, then I was like, okay, like, so church isn't just religion. Like, you can still have a relationship with God and still like to wear makeup and still like to dress up, and appearance does not define who you are within God. And I got to see that with my mom. So from 12 up until, I want to say, like 21, around there, I was still like in that not Baptist, I guess you could say like liberal, like Spanish church, I guess you can say. But then for me, that's when things kind of shifted from church, I guess you could say.
How beautiful that you mentioned that your mom sort of felt this freedom when she stepped outside of that religion, right? No makeup, you can't cut your hair. And I know because my grandmother, she would take us to her church when we were little girls, my sister and I, and it was a Pentecostal church. And I remember they can't cut their hair because it's a sin, and they can't wear makeup, and everything that you just described with your mom. And I'm thinking, wow, your mom felt freedom outside of that. And aren't we supposed to find freedom in the church, right? Aren't we supposed to find freedom when we're connected with the Lord, right? And with our church family. So it's kind of a weird dynamic to think that someone would find freedom outside of that when they start to become who they are, right?
Yeah.
So love
Yeah,
that.
it's very contradicting, I think, because like you said, you're supposed to find that freedom within church, which in reality, freedom comes through God, right? But because of, it's just so ironic, because in church, people don't feel that freedom that God provides, but we're supposed to be surrounded in this place where freedom is supposed to be all around. And like, we're all going there for freedom, I guess you could say, like freedom to be ourselves and without judgment. And most of the times, at least in my experience, and maybe other people, all the judgment is there where it's supposed to not be there. And then outside of it, it's like, how do I feel the most of myself and my relationship with God outside of somewhere that's supposed to be the most connected with other people and stuff? I know, it's crazy.
Girl, all right. Do you remember when church became part of your identity?
Yes, I would say, because I wanted to say, oh, like since I was younger, but that's not true. I think it was more so middle school, high school. So I would say more pushing towards like 8th grade on. And I say that because I remember, and everyone always like referred me as like the church girl all the time. Like, oh, like the church girl, oh, like the Virgin Mary, oh, like this and that and stuff. And it wasn't because I was wearing like skirts or anything like that. It was just because I was so involved with church. Like, say if I didn't really do sports because I would be going to church or something like that, or I would miss out on something because I was like, oh, I'm going to church. Or if my friend said, hey, like, do you want to hang out? I would be like, one, I would say like my mom said I can't because she was so strict. But also two, it was because like she didn't allow me to do anything else besides church. And not that she didn't allow me. It's more so, in a sense, I felt my relationship was only close with my mom because I went to church. So because my mom spent so much time there, and this is definitely like not any shade to her, but I saw that that was a way that I could still like bond with her by going to church, as opposed to choosing something else and stuff. And she really ingrained it in my mind, like, you know, God is first, like God is this, God is that. And it's like a full circle moment because she did have that freedom of like stepping away from church and then rediscovering herself. But even now till this day, like she's super like grounded with like God and church. And for me, like my identity was always Kim's like this church girl. Like in high school, it was not the worst, but like say guys would be like, oh, like Kim's pretty, but she's a virgin. Like we can't do anything with her. Or like, oh, Kim's pretty, but she goes to church. Like you don't want anything to do with her and stuff.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
it felt like I felt like not embarrassed, but like nobody really wanted to talk to me because of like what I believed in or what I chose to do. And I did have friends, like granted I did, but it was more so like I felt a rejection from guys because of like me going to church, even though I assumed or I thought people would be like, oh, like that's good that she has like a relationship with God, or like that's good that she's not in the streets or being like a thought or something like that, you know? So it was always like my identity until I broke free a bit after my relationship with my daughter's father. So that was when I was 23, 22. That's when I like broke free from that whole thing and kind of rediscovered myself. But it was just always like Kim's a church girl. Even now to this day, it's so funny because I hang out with some older friends that we grew up together. They still like view me as like, Kim, you're such a church girl, like because I don't like swear, because I don't drink or smoke or any of those things. But I've discovered it's not because I don't want to. It's truly because I feel my own conviction for myself, not because someone else is telling me to. Like I decided not to do that for myself because I've seen what it could do. Like I've seen my dad was a huge alcoholic. I've seen what it has done to my siblings, like all the things, and my friends. And I still have friends who drink, smoke, whatever the case is. But that doesn't mean that I have to like shut them out just because I don't do that, you know? And they respect me 1,000% anyway. And I feel like they both can coexist. But till this day, it's still like Kim's like the church girl and stuff. Or like, oh, if I swear, I can't swear around you or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of weird to me, right? Because it's like Kim the church girl. Why not just Kim who loves God, right?
Right.
Like who are you outside of that, right? And I love that you still have this identity of maybe I'm not at church like I used to be every Sunday or whatnot, but look at me, I still don't do the things that the society would think, oh, if you don't go to church, then you drink, you smoke, you swear, you do all these things. But you don't do that because you have conviction, and you don't have to be in the church every Sunday to have that conviction. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So even in school, while you were growing up and were seen as the church girl, was there ever a time, Kim, outside of the church that you didn't feel like Kim the church girl? Or were you always, even at home, in your bedroom by yourself, in your moment of quiet, did you ever feel like, I'm not really that much of a church girl?
That's a good question because I felt that way at 23. So after everything else, so even my mom viewed me as the church girl. She say if I wanted to do something else outside of like church or anything, she'd be like, oh, like eso no está bien, or like she would like, I would feel bad and stuff. And even if I wanted to do like, hey mom, can I go to the movies with my friends, or hey, can I stay after school to do this or whatever, and it wasn't like she just wouldn't allow me to not go to church. And so I felt it in my home, and I also felt it in school, and I felt it with my friends. So I felt like I could never escape that. I didn't get to escape that identity until I was 23 or 22, around that age or whatever. And that was because I chose to break free from it, not because anybody else said that, gave me permission to do so. It was like, yo, I'm done. I don't care what anybody thinks. Like, I'm just doing me, and I'm going ghost from everybody, because when I did that, like, it broke so much freedom. Like, before, I didn't have tattoos. I didn't have, like, a nose piercing. I didn't dye my hair and things like that because that's what was ingrained in me growing up. Well, I did wear makeup, like, throughout high school and stuff. But then when I chose to take back my power, and I was like, yo, like, I always wanted a tattoo. Why don't I get a tattoo? Like, is it because I'm afraid of what other people think? And then when I did get, like, a tattoo, I have a lot now, but when I did, they still thought the same thing of me. So it was like, whether I did it or not, people still put me in this box. But it's like, who are you to do that? Like, why, out of all people, why are you choosing to attack me? Or why are you so worried about me? Like, you're only afraid that you can't do it, or like you don't have the courage enough to do it yourself, so you're trying to point something at me or make me feel bad. And it's like, in reality, I know you guys want that tattoo, I know you guys want that nose piercing, like you're just mad because I'm not afraid to do it anymore. Like for so long I felt like in shackles, and it's so weird because like I felt the most in shackles within being in church and stuff. And there was a small window where I didn't, like that was probably within like ages 12 to like 15, like where I was going to this church that I did really love, with my mom and one of my best friends. Like we grew up there together, we're still friends to this day, and like she feels the same way. Like she feels the same way in the sense of like people judging her because she's breaking free. And I think it's so important to take back your power if you can, but also just have that courage, because if not, you're going to be like in those shackles forever. And I feel like I spent majority of my life in this box for other people and not for myself. And I can't get that time back. Like, but what I can do now is just live for myself and for my child.
Oh, Kim, this is so powerful. As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking people are listening right now thinking rebellion. Oh, break free from those shackles. People are going to say, oh, they're just rebelling. I hate that. I hate people feeling like, oh, you're just rebelling now, or you've stepped away from the church, or what's the other word they use? I can't even think of it because it's so silly. But it's just sad, it's just really, really sad to be looked at a certain way when you've decided to walk out your faith differently, right? So isn't God love, right? Isn't, and not that all churches do this, right? And I'll be honest in saying, Kim, I've been through a lot in my life, right? A lot of people know that I lost my son to cancer. I've been in horrific relationships before I got married. Like I've been through a lot. And if it wasn't for my church family, I always say I wouldn't be where I am today, right? Because they took me in, they helped me heal, they prayed for me. My closest friends, I met them within the church. So that's all beautiful. But what's not beautiful is that at times I also felt like I was in shackles, Kim. Like if a Sunday rolled around and I didn't feel like going to church that Sunday, for whatever reason, I felt like I had to come up with an excuse. Oh my gosh, I have to text so-and-so and say, I can't go today. Why? What's the reason? I don't feel well. I have a headache. My kid is sick. What do I say? And as you mentioned earlier, I got to a point where I said, why? Why do I need to keep explaining myself, right? Like, why? What if I just don't want to today? Does that make me less of a godly woman? Does God love me any less? Do I love God any less today because I didn't want to go today? So I hear you so much on that, girl. So much. That's so powerful. Did you ever feel like you knew the routine, right? The church routine, but you hadn't yet personally met God?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that was more so when I was younger, like 5, 6, up until like ages 10. Like that was a time where I'm like, okay, why is my mom and dad like rushing to get us out the house, like to go to church, to be there for like 4 hours on a school day? Like it was all of that. But then it's like a bittersweet thing, because then my teenage years, when I did end up going to that church that I really felt connected to, I felt like I knew God, I knew of God. I had a relationship with God. I had like, that was the most hungry I had ever been for like God. But I also felt like if I didn't do the things that I was doing, that other people would like judge me. So it was kind of not like a performance, but sometimes it did feel like a performance. Like say if I didn't want to go to Bible study or something, then like I would get shamed upon, or like those things. But I also felt like you said, what if I didn't want to go? Like, is that bad that I don't want to go? Like, why am I feeling guilty for not wanting to go? And then I would question myself, because other people would question me, like, God, like, am I actually doing something wrong? Like, do I really know you? Am I really connected to you as much as I say that I am, or as much as I feel that I am, just because I'm not performing or doing exactly what I'm supposed to do? And people would call it like rebellion, or like being disrespectful, like especially in a Hispanic household, like, oh, you're being disrespectful, or you're being defiant, just because I wanted to speak out on certain things. And I always felt like my voice was always so silent. And now that I'm an adult and I have my own daughter, like my voice is so loud. Like I'm very unapologetic, but growing up it wasn't like that. And I feel like even more so like after those years, like around 18 to like 23, I felt still like even lost because at that point I stopped going to church. I was kind of visiting like churches and stuff like that, but I felt more far away when I would be in it. So I just like was like, God, do I actually really know you? Because I feel like people are pointing out that I'm not going to church, so that means I'm not close to you, right? Like, does that mean that you and I are not good? Like, and it's wild because I always felt God with me, even the most at my house, even away from church. Like, the real church starts within yourself. Like, that's number one. And you don't have to be at a physical location to be like, oh, well, I went to church today. Like, no, like, did you go to church within your heart? Like, did you go to church within the fruits of your labor with how you treat other people? And I think there were moments where I did feel like the routine wasn't keeping me close to God, but it was also because I felt like guilty from what other people would perceive my relationship with God. Even though I knew him and I were always solid, like it's just people were always commenting on like, where are you? What are you doing? Like keeping tabs on me when for no reason, like you didn't have to keep tabs on me because I'm not performing the way that you want me to perform.
Correct.
You know?
Yep. So Kim, on that note, right, we're talking about the fact that you were busy, right? You knew the routine, but did you really know God? And I think you mentioned that you were feeling closer to God when you stepped back a little. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's wild. That's a wild thought because you'd think we'd be closer to him in the church. And I think what happens in a lot of cases, not everyone, right? We're all so different. But in a lot of cases, we get busy, really, really busy. But are we really being effective? And are we really leaning into God the way we should be? So we're just trying to, check things off of our list. Like I went on Sunday. I went, on Thursday. I, went to Bible study. I went to my small group. If you're checking all that off, cool, because that looks good to the people on the outside because people are watching and saying, oh, she did all that. She was here Sunday. She went to the group on Wednesday. She went to whatever on Friday. But are you in relationship with the Lord? Because I've spoken to so many people who are busy in the church and they don't know God.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why do we do that? Why do we do that as Christians? Why do we do that as godly people? Why?
I literally grew up in church. Like there was never not a time that I was not in church until I was like 22, 23, where I stepped out for myself. And I wasn't even not in church. I would still visit here and there, like different churches and stuff, or specific churches. And even though, like, no one could ever tell me that I wasn't the busiest. Like, my mom was super involved in church. She still is. I was there literally like 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, 4-hour services, Bible study, like get home from school, go straight to church. Like I was in that life. And even with as an adult, like I've gone to church a couple years ago, maybe even like last year. And I've done like the Bible study groups. I've done like going to service. And even then, even if I was at the Bible study groups, I was there physically, but I was not there mentally present. And I felt everything was just so loud. Like everything was just so here and there. And I'm like, dang, I can't even focus on what I'm supposed to learn because like, do I actually want to be here? Like, am I just being here to get checked off? Okay, Kim showed up. Or my truth was like, yo, I actually didn't want to be there, like, but I came so that people wouldn't talk about me or so that I wasn't judged. But in reality, like, I'm a homebody. Like, I do like to be at home because that's where I can be. It's so sad, but, like, crazy. Like, I feel like at home I could be my raw, authentic self with God. I can cry, I can scream, I can worship the way that I want, like, and still feel super, super close to God. Then sometimes at church, I feel, like, nervous to, like, praise or worship or whatever. Or, like, then even if I don't, like, she didn't worship today or she didn't do this. And I'm like, like, everyone's going through so much things in their own mind. Like, stop worrying about other people. Like, check if your relationship with God is good.
That's
like,
it.
Why are you worried about me so much? Like, why are you so pressed about what I'm doing? And, I feel like people also have to just reflect on themselves. Like, the truth is the truth. Sometimes people don't want to be there. Sometimes people still show up just because they're afraid of judgment, or sometimes people like have that conviction, like, okay, God, like I actually want to be here.
Correct.
It depends on who it is, right? But whether here or there, it doesn't matter if they should feel judged for that or not. Like, it's not wrong if you decide to stay home. It's not wrong if you decide to go. Like, it's not wrong if you don't see someone every single Sunday. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we all have our own internal battles, and we all have our own relationship with God that doesn't need judgment from outsiders. Like, God is literally the only one who can judge you. So,
girl, that's why, because it's like we say it's not about religion, you know, it's not about whether you wear the skirt or don't wear the skirt, whether your hair is short or isn't, whether you wear makeup or don't. It's about a relationship. But that's BS. Because in my personal life, Kim, like in this season of my life, girl, I'm so happy for this conversation with you today, because it just resonates with me so much, because I'm like, I've been judged so much as of late because I'm not walking out my faith the way people would expect me to. And it's like, but let me tell you, it's just ridiculous, because it's like, why do I need to prove to you that I love God? God, like, as I said in the intro, like the creator of all things, the sun, the stars, the moons, the galaxies, the world, every heartbeat. You think that he's the judge of all judges? Like, do you think that he's up there really feeling some type of way that I didn't show up on a Sunday, or that I'm not walking out my faith the way everyone else is doing it? No. Like you said earlier, like you and him are so close. Like me and him have such a dope relationship. Like he is my everything. And I am just so, so tired, Kim, of people wanting to see us walk out our faith the way they expect it. And if we don't, then we're being judged. What the heck are you guys doing? Yeah. Like, do you realize that you are judging, and you're not supposed to be doing that, because that's God's job?
Well, it gives me like Pharisee vibes. Like it does. It's just like, it reminds me of like the Pharisees and how they were just so stuck on a routine and all these things. And if you didn't do this specifically, then you won't like reach heaven and all these things or whatever. And it's like, it's so strange to me. Like till this day, every day, I'm like, why is someone so like infatuated with my life and my relationship with God? Like, why would that even matter to you? And who knows? Like, I don't know, but I just don't really care. Like, I don't really care anymore. So even if people have like a thought of me, they could just keep it to themselves, because they're not telling me directly. And if they told me directly, then I would say what I needed to say. But a lot of people who are the most judgy, they just be smiling in your face. They don't say anything directly towards you, but they'll say something behind your back. And it's like, okay, but you know where I stay at. You know where like I live. You know where I be at. You can talk to me anytime. You have my number. You can reach out to me on social media. Like, if you actually have something to say directly to me and how I move with God. But if not, like, you go there and I go here, and then that's it. You know.
That's it. This is good. Have you ever felt like people were watching your faith more than God was?
Oh, of course. That's
exactly,
like every day.
What we just said.
Yeah,
yes.
Like every single day. I mean, and it's just, again, I just don't understand why. Like, even God doesn't judge me as hard as like these people do. So I'm just like, like, God literally has me every single day, like, just in the palm of his hands. He has me with his arms wide open if I have a bad day, if I don't have a bad day. And then the same people judging me or assuming things. Where are you guys do you have anything positive to say? Like, or if I'm sad and if I'm depressed or anxious, are you guys sending me encouragement? Are you doing anything encouraging? Like, hey, I can pray for you. Hey, I could do this. No, you guys are sitting there just judging me or whatever. Like, if I post something like raw truth, like, hey, like, I'm feeling depressed this season. I'm feeling anxious this season. And people are probably like, oh, like, eso no se ve bien. And I'm like, are you praying for me? Are you checking on me? Like, the same people that judge you, they're not checking on you. They're not praying for you. They're not saying, hey, like, what's wrong? I haven't seen you in a while. They're just sitting there judging you. And it's like, okay, so you're not really being effective. So then, is this really for you, or is it for God? Like, are you performing for God, or are you performing for everybody else to assume that you're a good person or whatever? But in reality, you're not a good person. I almost swear, but I didn't say it.
Yeah, it's so
like a crappy person.
Yeah, that's so good. Kim, what did it take for you to finally say, I'm done performing? You mentioned that moment, right? That moment when you were like, I'm done. And I think you said it was after you ended your relationship with your daughter's father. Can you tell us a little bit about what that moment was like?
It was one of the most, like, that was like a very rock bottom moment for me, because I moved, my mom got remarried, I moved to Connecticut, and I met my daughter's father there, and he was also involved with like church as well too, and I even felt a lot of judgment from him as well too, like that I wasn't performing as much as he would have liked or whatever. And I also was a stay-at-home mom at the time. I was, he provided everything, like the money, the food, all the things, right? And I remember feeling like, is this gonna always be my life, or should I just like leave because I'm genuinely so unhappy? Like I can't please this person, I can't please this person, and I also was just so afraid of judgment, like even through my family, like, oh, like, you need to stay because of the kids. Like, you need to stay because whatever the case is, like, you've been together for X amount of time. And I'm like, I just want to break free, because either it was me breaking free or it was going to cost my mental sanity.
That's
like,
it.
Like, I was already depressed. I was already anxious. So then who knows, like, what could have happened mentally. And I ended up separating from that relationship. That meant having no job, no car, no place to stay, no money. Like, it was a really rock bottom moment for me. And I remember a lot of things. I remember feeling like, God, where are you? But also like, God, I know you're here with me. And he completely turned my life around from that moment on. And that's where I felt like just very empowered, because I had never really felt like I could just be me and not be judged for it. And I remember, that's me at 22. I want to say 22, 23. I remember I went to go get a tattoo, and I was like so liberated. And my first tattoo was I am not alone. Like, that is like, ironic. And I'm like, that's what I always wanted, like, and stuff, because I knew God was with me. And then I got like a nose piercing, and I was like, I always wanted a nose piercing. And even doing these things, I never felt further away from God. Like, it's just what people will implant. Like, hey, like, if you do this, you and God are not good. And I did receive that even from him as well too. And I remember, like, he had seen it. He saw that I changed and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, like, are you and God good?" Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're chilling. Like, we're fine or whatever.
Of course, we're good.
Yeah, and things like that." And I felt a lot of freedom in that moment, because I felt that God really picked me up, and he also like placed me at a table in front of my enemies. Like, there were so many people who were so not kind to me throughout that time frame, and even till this day, like, it's the same people, and I'm living more loudly for myself anyway. And I feel the most empowered right now in my life, because I am completely myself and not afraid of what anybody else has to say about me.
Girl, going back to that moment that you decided to get your tattoo and you felt so liberated, Kim, I've never struggled with drinking. Like, I've never abused alcohol. I understand that if you have abused a drug or alcohol or anything, if you become free from that, then going back to it or even touching it is dangerous, right? Not my case. So I remember thinking, like, I remember talking to people, right, that I would go to church with and say, like, oh, I like to have my drink here and there, my glass of wine, but I just don't tell anyone, or like no one knows, or I'll have someone else go to the liquor store for me and buy that bottle of wine. And I would think, God, why? God sees it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do it so that like your church family doesn't see that? But God sees it. So why are you hiding it? It didn't sit well with me. And then I thought, well, Francheska, you're doing the same. You might want to have a social drink, right? Go out to dinner and order a strawberry margarita. And you don't do it because what are they going to say? But what does God say? Girl, the day that I decided to order a glass of wine at a table filled with all my beautiful friends who I love, Kim, who I love and I honor and I respect, but maybe they weren't used, like they hadn't seen that side of Francheska break free. And I remember thinking like, yeah, I'll have a glass of Moscato. I don't know what everyone's thoughts were. And if you were there that day, you know who you are. And I'm not saying that they judged me. I don't know their thoughts. But I remember in that moment feeling like, crap, what are they thinking? What are they saying in their brains, right? Like, what? Oh my gosh, Francheska ordered a glass of wine. They probably didn't judge me, but I remember feeling free. Like, I ordered the glass of wine in front of my friends, in front of people I go to church with. Because it's okay. Because God knows I like a glass of wine here and there. And what's wrong with that? You know, so in you sharing how you like broke free and like found yourself, and for so long you were identified as the church girl, it's okay. It's okay for someone to be like, oh, she's a church girl. I don't have a problem being associated with God.
Yeah.
Girl, I love God. But like there's more to Francheska, you know, and there's more to Kim. And it's okay that you went and you got that tattoo. Girl, I know tattoos have been like so taboo for so long. Like a lot of people I knew and grew up with in the church, like, no, tattoos. And now they all got tattoos. It's okay. So I love that you were able to break free from that and find that freedom, you know?
It's beautiful that you were able to have your glass of wine. Like, that's beautiful because in reality, like, whether or not you were with your church friends, you would do it if they weren't around anyway. And like you said, God's seeing. And if they didn't want to do it, or say if people don't want to get tattoos or whatever the case is, in reality, like, deep down they probably do want to get that tattoo. Yeah. Deep down they do want to have that glass of wine. And for some reason they have that conviction. Who knows? Conviction of whether it's directly from God or like just judgment of other people. I do hope that people can break free from that.
So I always say, like, we're on a little vacation here on planet Earth, right? Like God sent us one day and we came to this world, and God knows that we're here for however X amount of years, right? It's like a little vacation. It's like a breath of air. It's gone before you know it. So do I spend that one life that God gave me trying to be fake because I want to please people? Like, some people may not like me because I say it how it is, because I don't fake the funk, because I don't want to sugarcoat things, because I don't want to act holier than thou. If you don't like it, keep it moving. But I'm going to be real because it's the one life God gave me. So I am unapologetically me, a God-loving woman who's raising my children in the faith. We read the Bible, we pray together, but it doesn't mean my faith needs to look like yours. And if it doesn't look like yours and you don't want to like me for that, please don't. I'm 36 years old. I'm tired of pleasing people. Yeah. My cousin and I, the production manager of our show, Natasha, we talk all the time. Like, we are not in our people-pleasing era anymore. That's long gone. Like early 20s, maybe. I wanted you to like me. I want, like, not there. Not anymore. Like, if you're here for it and you love me, let's build something beautiful together. But if not, keep it moving.
And you should want to have just genuine and sincere people around you. Like you said, like, you're not getting any younger. Like, you don't need to waste more time or energy onto people who are not accepting you for who you are, like, that are just putting you in this box of, oh, I see Francheska as since she was like 20 or whatever the case is. Like, if you're not evolving, if you're not growing, like, that's a problem. Like, that's scary. Like, if you're the same person as high school or in your early 20s and you're in your late 30s, or me, I'm in my later 20s, like, that's concerning. Like, correct. You know, like, we're supposed to evolve, we're supposed to change. Like, and if you haven't, that means that you haven't really dug deeper with who you are, or discovering who you are. That's sad. What's not sad is me actually falling down, getting back up, or not sad, which is encouraging, is like falling down, getting back up, going through my rock bottoms and still coming out of them. Like, that's showing that God has really been there for me. And I don't know people's relationship with God and stuff like that, but again, before you judge other people, like, literally judge yourself. Like, look within yourself, because you just have too much time on your hands to be looking at my life.
Preach it. I'm loving that. Okay, we can talk for 10 hours. I don't want you to leave. This can keep going because it's such a relatable conversation, and I really do pray that for anyone who's listening today, Kim, that they are really, like, taking this in and seeing what we're really trying to say here, right? It's not about, like, bashing the church or bashing church people or anything like that. It's really about, we love God. We have one life to live, and the way we choose to walk out our faith shouldn't be put in a box, period. That's it. And I really pray that people walk away from listening to this episode with that in mind. Is there anything that I haven't asked yet, Kim, that you want to touch base on today? Anything in your heart that you feel like would really benefit our audience?
I think the only thing that sticks out to me is, even though I grew up in church my whole life, even though, like, God has always been on my side, I think a lot of people do experience things that, like, they keep on, like, the down low, or like, say, for example, depression, anxiety, trouble drinking, pornography, all those issues and stuff. And for me, like, for so long, nobody knew this. My mom didn't know this. Like, nobody knew this until I brought it out. For people who always assumed just because I was, like, in church and there a million hours a day or whatever, I definitely went through a period, I want to say my senior year of high school, where I was super depressed, super depressed. It wasn't like a suicidal thought. It was just more so like, yo, God, like, I cannot take this pain anymore. Like, I just don't want to be here right now, or I just want to sleep this away, right? And my senior year of high school, I do remember, like, my mom, she got remarried and we had moved, and a lot of different changes for somebody who's 17, 18 years old and shouldn't really be experiencing that their senior year of high school. Because I always say, like, everybody says, oh, like, my senior year was the best year of my life. Like, high school was the best thing. And for me, it wasn't like that. Like, I was just so depressed, and one day I did overdose on sleeping pills, and this is me being in the church. This is me going to church like multiple times a week and hours or whatever the case is. And you can see somebody in church and doing the thing. That doesn't mean they're not going through something. And I had overdosed on sleeping pills, and from that moment, like, my relationship with God was never the same, in a good way. Like, me and God have been super bonded since that moment, because I had an experience with him. So I did take the sleeping pills. I did go to sleep, right, for a long time. And I remember in that, I guess you could say, that sleep, I saw, like, a silhouette of God. And I didn't see his face, but I did see, like, the white, like, cloak and golden and stuff. And I remember God was telling me, Kim, like, you have to wake up or you're not going to wake up anymore. And and I was like, God, like, I hate my life outside of here. Like, I just really don't want to be here anymore. Like, I feel like there's nothing going on for me. Like, I've been feeling this pain for so long, and you haven't taken this away from me, and all these things. And we're having this dialogue, and it's so crazy because I was actually sleeping, but I remember that, like, no one could ever take that away from me, because that was my experience with God. And he said, like, if you do wake up, like, I can't promise you that your life's gonna be perfect, but I can promise you that you're gonna have a better life with what you put into it, whatever you decide to put into it and stuff. And he's like, just give me one more chance, like, and all these things. And then I ended up waking up in that moment. And since then, like, life wasn't any easier, but for the better. Like, I had my daughter. That was the best thing ever. Like, I started a business. Like, there was a lot of things where I always saw God's hands in it. And I cannot say that if I didn't have that encounter with God, that my relationship with him would be, like, this solid. And that's why I say, like, you cannot judge somebody from what you see on social media. You can't judge them if they don't go to church, because those same people who are having those silent battles are the people in church, are the people even outside of church. And I just really want to encourage people, like, to not try to point fingers at any other people, because you don't know what they're going through. Like, no one would ever have thought, oh, like, Kim overdosed on sleeping pills. Like, my mom didn't even know that. She was like, I never even saw signs that you were depressed and stuff, because I was faking it for so long, like, faking it. And she's like, oh, like, that's not from God. Like, what are you doing and stuff? And I'm like, but we're humans. Like, we have genuine battles. Like, I still have battles, like, all the time that I have to fight every single day. And that's like anybody else. And I just really just want to highlight for people, like, please don't assume things. Don't assume things that you don't know. And if you genuinely are curious, ask the person. And if they choose to share with you, cool. And if they don't, cool too, know?
Like, don't assume that because you're not seeing someone active in the church there every Sunday or serving, that they're not close to God, right? Because they may have a better relationship with God than the people who are doing all the things have. So I really resonate with that. And I'm so happy to know that you did come out on the other side of that, because God is so faithful, Kim, and you're his daughter. And God would have it that even in that really difficult time of your life, he would show up. And he would let you know that he was there and that he had so much more for you. So I love that. I love that for you. I love that that was your experience, right? And so I do pray that, people can hear this and just have maybe a new thought process, right, when it comes to judging people. Because I would hope that people listening and watching today would really see two women who love God. No,
right? Definitely. I hope so. Like, I hope that they get to see that. And like you were saying, just because someone is not in church doesn't mean that they don't have a relationship with God. Like, that's just the silliest thing to ever even think of. Like, if anything, like, me and God are like this.
That's
like, we're
it, girl.
solid. Like,
That's
super
it.
solid. So don't worry about us. Like, we're cool. We're cool.
We are okay.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty good over here. Yeah. I love that. Quick lightning round, and then we'll wrap up, okay? Coffee, tea, or matcha?
Matcha all the way.
Yes!
Like,
Oh!
above everything. Like, above coffee, above tea. Like, matcha is the way to go.
Well, just like our producer, Louie, right over there.
Yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
Ooh. Morning.
Yeah?
Morning. Yeah, but
you
I have
are.
to be, yeah.
You're such a morning person. Every time I wake up, I have a message from you, and I'm like, she wakes up. I kid you not, this morning, I'm like, Kim is a morning person.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I go to bed really late, so I wake up later in the morning, but
Right,
you've
right.
already texted me hours before I woke up. I'm like, she's a morning person.
Yep.
What's your love language?
Ooh. I want to say, well, just hugging. Like, hugging, feeling safe. Like, that's a huge thing for me. Just because I grew up in a household where physical touch equaled, like, physical abuse. But now I'm discovering, like, being safe in the arms of somebody that you care about, that you love, that they're not going to hurt you physically. That's the way to go. And also acts of service. I would say that, because I do everything. So if someone does something for me, I'm like, ooh, thank you so much. Like, you see me. Like, you see that I need help. Yeah.
That's mine. Acts of service all the way. A Bible verse or quote that keeps you grounded?
Ooh. I mean, I would say definitely Philippians 4:13. I know it's the most basic, but it's something that I had wrote in my Bible since I was like a kid, which is like, I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Because that's literally like, without God, I'm literally nothing. And I've been writing that since I was 5-6 years old in my Bible. It was like, if I'm doodling, it was always like that. And I have just kept that in my mind forever.
Amen.
Yeah.
Go-to comfort food after a long day?
I'm going to say ice cream.
Yes.
It's not even food, it's ice cream. And I've always been like that has a chokehold on me, is just ice cream. After I eat that, after a long day, it's kind of like, people have vices. My vice is ice cream.
That's it.
It takes off like a chip off my shoulder.
Girl, I was reading the other day a statistic that it's like something like 70% of Americans keep ice cream in their freezer.
I have
it's
literally
a thing.
Like 5 pints.
We always have ice cream in our freezer, always.
Yeah.
A quality you admire most in others?
Transparency. I would say that's number one. Just even people telling me the truth, even if it hurts. I would rather that than a comforted lie, or I just feel more connected. I hate everything that's surface level. I feel more closer to people who are just raw, unfiltered, and just transparent with their truth and who they are, because that's who I am. And if I can't have that like connection with you, then I can't be around you. Powerful. It doesn't make me feel safe.
Yeah, powerful. What's your go-to way to reset your mood?
It might be ice cream again.
Why not, girl?
Yeah.
And to wrap up, describe your life right now in one word.
I would say peaceful.
Peaceful.
Yeah, definitely peaceful. And I haven't had peace like this in a very, very long time. And I actually pray about it every day. I'm like, God, can you please continue to keep this peace? Because this is me giving back to myself that I haven't had peace in a very long time. I've always been involved in some sort of chaos. And, it's been a few months that it's been peaceful. And I hope that it continues to just stay this way, because it's been very good to me and my soul, I would say.
Yes. I love that. Well, Kim, that's a wrap. Thank you so much. Yay. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It meant the world. This is such a powerful conversation to have, and I'm very blessed to have been able to have it with you.
Thank you for having me. Love being here. Love everybody here. And I really appreciate you also allowing me to be here to share my truth for everybody else. And I do hope that somebody can resonate with this and hopefully be unapologetically themselves just from hearing us both conversate about this.
Love that. Yay, thank you. Oh, give me a hug, girl. We did that. God never asked you to perform for his approval. He just asked you to be present in his love. Am I more focused on being accepted by people or being at peace with God? The moment you stop chasing perfection, you start finding his presence. Kim's story hit home for so many of us who grew up in church culture, where faith can sometimes feel more like a performance than relationship. She reminded us that you can love God deeply and still struggle to find your place in a system built by people. She talked about how faith felt like pressure for a long time, how attending service and reputation were treated like proof of devotion. But what she learned is that God's presence doesn't live in performance, it lives in peace. And sometimes peace looks like stepping away from the noise. It looks like sitting with Him in the quiet. It looks like trusting that even when you are not doing enough by church standards, He still calls you His. Done. Isn't it crazy that you ended with peace? And then this had peace? No! What? Ready to share what you've never said out loud? Visit truthwithoutedits.com and head to the Submit Your Truth tab to send your story. You can even submit anonymously. While you're there, feel free to check out our merch, stream the latest episodes, and join a community that's finally saying it all. Don't forget to subscribe and follow the show so you can stay in the know and be the first to hear when new episodes drop. Until next time, truth tellers, keep showing up loud and unedited.